In the last segment, we used the off method to remove specific event handlers from the selected elements. If we write a common library or even a jQuery plugin, we can't be sure that our event handlers are the only ones that have been attached. To play nicely, we should only remove event handlers that we added to the elements. Using the event namespace gives us this capability. Let's take a look at how we can make use of the event namespace. This page is basically the same as the one we used in the previous segment. We no longer have the named handler function, and we've removed all the off methods in the chain. We only have event handlers attached, but nothing that removes them. A namespace is defined for an event by appending it to the event type with a period. It's a similar syntax as used in CSS. Like CSS, the namespace structure is not hierarchical. If multiple namespaces are used, they must be attached individually to each event type. They are not nested in a parent-child relationship. Let's add a namespace to all of our event types. We'll use a namespace of demo for brevity. In a real web application, we'd want to use something more descriptive, perhaps the name of the plugin we're writing. We've appended the demo namespace to every event type on the page, including the Select Start for Internet Explorer. Let's run this to see how using an event namespace affects the attachment of event handlers. Even though we've used a namespace in the event handler attachment, it doesn't interfere with the processing of normal system-generated events. Notice that we're responding to the click event, not the click.demo event. The namespace is not part of the event type when the message is generated. It's part of how jQuery manages events. So why bother using a namespace? Using a namespace with events makes it easy to target specific event handlers for removal. If we want to remove a single click event handler that we attached, but leave all other event handlers in place, the namespace capability makes this quite easy, even while using an anonymous function. Let's put this to the test. First, let's add an additional click event handler. We're adding this new click event handler in the test namespace. This gives us an additional namespace to work with. The stop propagation logic isn't applied to this message, so we can be sure that subsequent event handlers are processed. Now we'll use the off method to remove all click event handlers that are in the demo namespace. Let's collapse the logic in our event handler so we can see all our chained methods. The click event and the second and third on methods are part of the demo namespace. Their handler functions will both be removed by the off method at the end of the chain. The double click and mouse down event handler functions will not be removed. When we click on the page elements, we should only see the click event messages that are generated from the click event handler that is part of the test namespace. That message will have the word test as a prefix to the event type. Let's test this out. As expected, the click event messages contain the test prefix. We see multiple click messages because the latest handler we added didn't stop propagation. We don't see any of the other click event messages, but the mouse down and double click messages appear as usual. Additionally, we can remove all event handlers for a given namespace by passing just the namespace without an event type specified. If we remove the click event type and just leave the demo namespace, all event handlers attached with the demo namespace will be removed. If we load the page now, we should only see the click event that's in the test namespace. As expected, only the click event messages from the test namespace are displayed. All the other event handlers are associated with events in the demo namespace. They were all removed with a single namespace reference. Using namespaces properly can be an effective way to manage the attachment and removal of event handlers without any concern about affecting other handlers that may be attached. This is very useful for anyone writing a jQuery plugin or a web application library that uses element events for process control. Using event namespaces can help avoid clashes with other libraries or dynamically loaded content. Just like using a namespace for functions and variables helps eliminate conflicts with your script code, event namespaces can provide the same type of insulation from event handling conflicts.